Hello guys, welcome back to the BC room. Another rehouse today. We've had a few spiders come in, so we're actually starting to rehouse some bits. We're also still moving stuff from the old room as well. So today what we are going to do, the Poeccilotheria striata, or the Mysore ornamental. Now we've got a lovely sized female here that recently came in a collection that we purchased, and this is one of the ones that we decided to keep for our own breeding purposes. So she is going to be housed in this 20 by 20 by 30 exo. Now with these exos, we often get asked with our pokies, the Poeccilotheria, what do we house them in? What's the best thing to house them in? Now we house most of them in these 20 by 30s, and these work out really well, and they set up a nice secure home. For some of the others, when we're breeding them, we keep them in the 30 by 45s, which are a little bit bigger. Now the reason we go for the bigger size is purely for the ease of pairing them. When they're in these, we will pair them inside a net, which is a big net that we use, and we just put this enclosure inside with our male's enclosure, and then we let them get it on. But with the bigger enclosures, we can actually normally sit back and watch and do them like that, although many of them prefer to do all their business at night, so we don't really tend to see a lot of them when it comes to the pairing. So what we're going to do, we're going to house her in this, and this is the perfect size as a maintenance style enclosure for any of your pokies. They all do really well in them. So we've got the striata here, which is the Mysore ornamental. Now these all come from India, and as you know, it's very hot in India, and when the rainy season comes in, it's incredibly humid as well. So these guys will put up with quite a dry situation, and they will cope really well with a high humidity as well. So in captivity, as terms for us as keepers, we're looking at just keeping them somewhere in the middle. So don't get too hung up. It's not that important to get, you know, things absolutely perfectly bang on.
Can you think of a spider where the numbers really do matter, like with one that needs to be dry or particularly humid? Captivity.
Well, things like your sand spider, they're a really good example actually, where they do need to be kept dry. Any kind of dampness or humidity with them is really detrimental. They do not like it, and they will keel over real quick. So yeah, there are some, but the vast majority of spiders that we keep in the hobby today, the vast majority of them, everything, when we give you temperature numbers, humidity numbers, all of these, they're all guidelines. You know, it doesn't need to be bang on. And we get a lot of people that get really hung up and worried because they're chasing them numbers. And all I can say to you is just don't be fooled into that. Don't end up in that position where you are literally chasing a set number, because most of these spiders are more than happy in a wide range of situations, so they don't need to be perfect.
The fact you create the perfect environment for them all year round is kind of the other thing that,
yeah, we can I mean, the majority of stuff that we do keep the same, like you're saying, we actually keep it the same. It's only when we start changing for, Susan, if you don't behave yourself, it's only when we start changing things for things like breeding and what have you, that's when we start looking at changing our situation. So we might go from a dry habitat to a really high humidity habitat, because that sometimes can help getting a spider to actually create an egg sac, drop an egg sac.
Is that because instinct?
No, it's because of in the wild they would have climatical changes. And so they have seasons, the same as we do. We have summer, winter, autumn. These are all seasons. And as you know, when we come out of summertime, winter time, sorry, you'll notice that, especially like now, you'll see there's a big buzz now with all the birds and that are coming in your garden. A lot of them have got young birds now. So they don't breed in the winter time because food is really quite sparse and not so good. Come springtime, the temperatures go up, the food availability goes up, everything changes, and it all starts looking a whole lot better for the prospect of raising a family, which is basically what everyone ends up doing. So yeah, you know, climate changes are a big, big thing for many, many animals, and our spiders are no different. You know, they appreciate it as well. So that being said, some can do with a change in environment to promote breeding. Others don't need anything at all. So it can...
as long as they've got their optimum, this is what I love.
Yeah, it all depends as where they are in the equator as well. So things like many of our avics and stuff like that are actually on the equator, their changes throughout the year are very, very minimal. The temperature stays roughly the same, the humidity stays roughly the same. It's not a massive big change. So we don't need to worry about conditioning as such with them types of spiders. They don't need it as much. Whereas other spiders that live in countries where there's definite summers and definite harsh winters and things like that, this makes a big difference to them. Right, so we are going to have a look at our one here. Now we're going to get our favourite bit of wood out again.
Camera lady's wood.
Yeah, and we are going to... I nearly said something then. Oh, we are going to try and get this spider on this piece of wood so we can have a really nice look at it. Now, again, do please, if you've got these spiders, if you've got this genus of spider, the Poeccilotheria, treat them with some respect, because these are a very, very fast arboreal spider, which basically means, being arboreal, it can end up, when we take this lid off, this spider could end up anywhere from on the floor to on the ceiling. So be very, very careful when you're dealing with these. They also have what we class as a medically significant venom. So should you get a bite from one of these, it's likely to really upset your day. And you will probably be suffering for a week or more with direct results. Now, them results can actually be anything from a soreness to pain to inflammation to itchiness, cramps, vomiting. They can really, really muck you about. So please be very careful. We are going to try and get her onto this piece of log. Now, although they can be defensive, they can also be quite gentle as well. So we're going to try and move her. We're going to use our brush. We're going to make first contact here. This is always the real key point, is that very first contact. You see how she flinched away from that then? We're going to use that reaction. We're going to get her to back out. Look at that. She's doing really, really lovely at the moment. But she's going in her own time. Here we go. We're going to stop her now. We don't want to go in any further. So we're just going to leave her there so we can get some nice views, some nice shots. Now, quite often they will sit like this and then they will tear off. Whoa, 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 careful. They will tear off. So we have to be very, very astute at what we're watching and read the signs. You notice the really purple colouring on the carapace?
Give us a little bit.
That is looking absolutely stunning. Try and
That's
get
better.
There we go. You should be able to see something now. We just, the light, she's a little bit, here we go. Whoa. You notice how her reaction is speeding up? Whoa. There we go.
That is perfect.
She's looking for a bit of darkness. That's what she's after.
You turn the light off now, then we'll get her sitting. Hey Susan, you stole my spider.
Yeah, Susan's stolen the spider. Right, okay. So what we'll do is we'll put this up here. Now this is always, she's right down here now. Look, I put that there, she comes down here. When you've got a spider that disappears under something like this, the last thing you want to do is stick your fingers underneath, unless you know where your spider is. We know our spider is here, her toe is poking out there. So we are going to get hold of our Susan here. Now she's disappeared. And we're going to lift it straight up. There we go.
It really shows how she's deciding from that light.
Yeah, they are quite light sensitive in terms like that. So what we can do,
Just make her out in there.
what we will do, we will bring her out again. Now you notice at the moment she's under no stress. You know, all she's doing is she's just looking for somewhere dark.
Which she's found.
Yeah, she's found. Because what she's done is she's gone
on the glass now.
There's a gap underneath there. And she's actually between the two.
So that tight space and dark.
Yeah. So what we'll do, we're going to close this up. We're going to lift it and we'll see if we can't get her back on our piece of wood. There she is. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use our catch cup. You notice how the lip of the table is working a treat now. It's going to come down. There we go. So now we got her in our catch cup, we can gain control again. We're just going to look at the beautiful yellow on those legs. Right, so we'll put her there. Should we get our Susan back? So you might sort of sit there and think to yourself, what is all this mucking around? What's it worth? Well, these spiders, once they're in their enclosure, some of them, you'll only ever see them of a night time. They'll come out of a night time. Some will come out in the day, but not all.
Is it worth putting the bark up through her door?
No, we're going to... Well, actually, what I wanted was to... She's being fun and games. It's interesting, actually, to see. You see that yellow? Right. Once we get this off, and we can manipulate her a little bit better. There we go. What you're going to have to do is film a moving spider. There you go.
I'll try not to.
So she will settle down eventually. As you can see there, you can see the yellow markings on the legs, the purple carapace there. Absolutely beautiful. You'll notice as well, most of the Poeccilotheria all have that sort of stripe down the abdomen, or most of them do. And you can see how she's stretching herself now. This is going into typical pokey stance, where the two sets of front legs go out forwards and the two sets at the back go out backwards. This is a very, very typical pokey stance. This is a I'm now hiding sort of stage. You notice we've seen no defensive behaviour from her, even though when we've been moving her, she's been very, very mild.
Just wanted to get a winch.
And what you can see there, there's like a little divot in this piece of bark, and that is what she's laying herself down in. You notice how she goes out with those front legs, and she's stretching out, looking to see what's around. Now we need to be very, very aware when we're moving. This is why we've got a really nice large piece of bark here, because it enables us to give her some freedom, and also our fingers, keep our fingers safe as well. Now, as long as I can see her leg, I know where she is. Now, generally speaking, when they find somewhere dark, they settle down. I'm not sure where she is now, because
where am I? I'm pointing the camera. She's literally doing the pokey underneath. I'll let you know if she takes off.
that'd be good.
She's in pokey stance.
So you can get a really, really good look at her now.
I'm going to come in and start on her front leg.
And this is the ideal time to have a real good close-up, and we can get to see a real showcase of quite a shy spider. Now these ones are one of the more frequently bred spiders out of this genus. You notice how she's laying flat now, look at that. She's really, really settling down. She's like, I found somewhere safe, and this is where we're going to stay. So, a little bit of playing around in the very beginning has paid off, and we still haven't upset our spider. She's still really, really happy. And what a fabulous looking thing she is. Now we have to be careful that we don't send too much vibration through the wood, because that will upset her. We don't want too much movement. I also really want to get some nice photographs. Someone said the other day, why do you take so many photographs of your spiders?
That's a silly question.
And I'm thinking to myself, because they just are the most wonderful things. So we're going to get some nice photos. So as we said, these guys originate from India. They are on the CITES list. The whole genus is on the CITES list, so they are endangered in the wild. And there's no more collecting of these guys in the wild anymore. So anything that you see now should, in theory, be captive bred. There shouldn't be much in the way of wild caught stuff coming through at all. See how she's really hugged down onto that piece of wood?
We were getting a nice angle and then you moved, sweetheart.
Which way do you want to go?
I just needed you to stay still. Basically.
Believe it or not, holding this piece of wood steady and not jumping it around is actually quite hard.
It's like the feather game.
So as you can see there, this is where she would rest up in the daytime. You'll often see them like this behind their bark. This is what they do. They settle down and she will go to sleep like this.
Do you think you'd get away with flashing the light real quick now?
Flashing the light?
Just on like a little touch, because she's a bit more.
We can try.
Because I'm not sure we really appreciate
I'm also running out of hands. Right, are you hooked in there? We will see if we can't get a little bit of light. That's got to be better, isn't it? Can we see that? Not getting a lot of feedback here, my dear.
That's because you're not doing it right yet. That's all. Yeah. Look at that.
Hopefully that is picking up the purples that are in this spider. Now if you was to see this spider in the wild resting on a branch like this, you wouldn't imagine that there's that bright yellow underneath them front legs, and that yellow is used as a warning. So should the spider get disturbed or whatever by a bird or anything like that, it will rear up, show them front legs, make itself look really big and horrible and scary, and flash them yellow legs. And that's part of its defense mechanism. What an absolutely stunning spider.
We'll try and get them yellow legs when you walk her in.
Yeah, when we get her to go back in, we will do that.
All good.
Be careful. I just want to rest her on there for a moment so that I can get a nice shot. There we go. Look at that. That is just absolutely stunning. Right. So food-wise, these guys will take on pretty much anything. Again, we don't want to be overfeeding them. Don't give them too much. But they will take dubias, locusts, big crickets, anything like that. So what we're going to do now, we're going to need to wake her up again because she's gone to sleep. I'm sure she's gone to sleep. So we're going to wake her up again and we're going to transfer her into a new enclosure. And I think to do this, we're going to actually turn her around and get her to go backwards. So when we're in a situation like this and we want to get her into her enclosure, this is the shortest space between her back leg there and the end of the wood here. So it's going to make sense that we try and move her the shortest route rather than trying to get her to walk all the way down there and out the other side. So always try and go for the shortest route. Doesn't always work.
Would you keep that end upright because she'll want to go up?
Well, we're going to keep her flat at the moment. She is just absolutely beautiful. Really, really beautiful.
Not going to get to see these yellow legs now, though.
We will. I am going to get one more picture because we won't get to see this girl very often. So we're just going to do that. All right, that's enough pictures, David. Right, here we go. We're going to move her in. Now remember, we're going to put the wood inside there now, like that now. We're also going to cut it down. So you notice we're using the side of the glass. So she has literally got to just turn round and she's almost in. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
You set back a little bit so you get plenty of scope.
Yeah.
All right. And what we're going to do now, we're going to just very, very gently just touch her toes. That's it, we've made contact. She might just tear off, so we're going to be very, very careful. Here we go. Here you go, we're going to lift them legs up. Look at that yellow. You see that yellow? Absolutely beautiful. So all we're doing is we're lifting her leg at the moment, and this is enough to get her to think about moving. We're going to move that one. There you go. Notice how she's staying tight to the wood. This is always a good thing. There we go. She'll find the new piece of wood and away she goes. Look at that. One very, very stress-free move into her new enclosure.
Enclosure looks lovely, by the way.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. And there she is behind that piece of wood. Behind that piece of plant, sorry.
Got my reflection now. So
Oh!
let me get.
Right. Well, that is her inside her enclosure. Now, hopefully, we've shown there that, you know, even with these, what are pretty much renowned as pretty flighty spiders, that if we treat them gently, we can do an awful lot with them. Even when she was out on the table, you notice we can catch cup her with the minimum of stress. There was no stress involved there. It's very, very easy, very simple, but we're very slow and precise with what we're doing. And we take our time. And this is the big key. Take your time. Your spider will remain calm. You remain calm, and everything will work nice and easy. So yeah, that is our Mysore ornamental. And she will now join our breeding program because, as we said, these guys are not being collected anymore. So we need to be breeding them in captivity to maintain the spiders coming through the hobby. It's going to be a really important thing. All of that genus, they all need to be bred in captivity now, as do pretty much everything else. But they're a little bit more, we need to be on these more now because laws have changed and they are endangered. So we need to do our bit. Right, don't forget, we're only a couple of days away from the British Tarantula Society show in Warwickshire, the BTS. Now, we will be there and we will have a whole array of new spiders on our table, including things like the T. Celadonia. We will have some of them available. We've only got limited numbers, so if you're keen and you want one of those, get to us quick because they will not hang about. We also have some Sabar Reds, some Sabar Blues. We also have some Theraphosas, so we've got some young blondies, Apophysis. We have got a whole range of stuff. We've got an awful lot of really, really cool stuff. So come and see us at the BTS. Best show of the year. It really is a fantastic show. Now, something that's just cropped up that I've just remembered. When we were reading the comments, I often get asked, why on earth do you, once the spider is in the enclosure, why don't you put the roof on it and shut the door? You know? And it's all about being a little bit nervous, you know? People that are nervous will shut it down. You will often see when we do our spiders and we do our rehouses, we're in no rush to put the lid on. What's the point? Our spider has found her spot behind there. She is not going to leave this enclosure. So we can leave it open. It's not a big deal, you know? It really isn't a big deal. Even if she came out and crawled out, we can still put her back in again, you know? We can just be gentle. We can maneuver her wherever we want her to go, provided we stay calm and gentle. And that's all we need to do. So, hopefully that will answer the question of all the people that ask, why don't you just close it up? There is no rush to close it up. She's not going anywhere. She'll be absolutely fine. Right then, I hope you enjoyed that. And don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. And I'll see you soon, guys.